Hey everyone, my name is Ellen and I am a licensed nutritionist who specializes in disordered eating, hormones, gut health, and really anything anti-diet culture. Welcome to my YouTube channel where we discuss how to support yourself with nutrition in non-restrictive, supportive ways that are based in self-love. Today, we're going to be talking about a condition that I see in my practice all the time, which is PCOS, aka polycystic ovary syndrome. And this video is perfect for you if maybe you just received a PCOS diagnosis and you're not really sure what it means, or if you struggle with irregular menstrual cycles and you're trying to figure out what the heck is going on. We'll spend most of the video breaking down what PCOS really is, and then go over a few places to get started if you are struggling with this. So let's get started. Okay, let's get into it. PCOS is one of the most common gynecological disorders in people with uteruses, occurring in about 10 to 15% of menstruators. PCOS is also the most common cause of anovulatory infertility, meaning infertility due to not ovulating properly, not having healthy cycles. Health concerns often seen in those with PCOS include infertility, irregular cycles, weight gain or struggling to lose weight, insulin resistance, high androgen levels, and more. Symptoms related to high androgen levels include hair loss on the head, overgrowth of hair on the face or the chest, acne, and more, especially acne along the jawline here. It's important to note that PCOS often manifests differently in different people. So receiving a PCOS diagnosis can be tricky because doctors do not all agree on the same diagnostic criteria. And there are a few variations of diagnostic criteria for PCOS, and we're going to get into those. In 1990, the National Institute of Health, which we call the NIH, stated the following as necessary to be present to receive a PCOS diagnosis. This criteria has two. So we are talking about hyperandrogenism or high androgen levels, and two, irregular ovulation or anovulatory cycles. That often presents as irregular cycles. So we're having, going from like 30-day cycles to 45-day cycles to 60-day cycles back to 30. See that a lot. But in 2003, the Rotterdam criteria for diagnosing PCOS was created. And really, they just updated the NIH criteria. According to this updated criteria, a PCOS diagnosis can be given to patients who have two of the three following symptoms. So you do not need to have all three. You just need to have two of them to receive a diagnosis. One is that hyperandrogenism or high androgen levels. Two, irregular ovulation or anovulatory cycles. Three, which is a new addition, is polycystic ovaries found on an ultrasound. Okay, so it's time to dispel a myth that you may have heard before, okay? You do not need to have an ultrasound to be diagnosed with PCOS. And we just saw that in that diagnostic criteria, right? That was just one of the three. So if you don't have that one, but you have the other two, you can still be diagnosed with it. The name polycystic ovary syndrome can be confusing because you read cyst in cystic and you think of one of those like zip popping videos we all watched in high school, or maybe it was just me. I know people are still out there watching those. Anyways, to understand what cyst means in the context of your ovaries or polycystic ovary syndrome, we need to back up and briefly review a really important part of the menstrual cycle. So in a healthy cycle, every month, a hormone called follicle stimulating hormone increases. We also call follicle stimulating hormone FSH. So FSH increases, which causes 10 to 20 of our eggs to grow in size. And this number, it varies per person. Each egg in the ovaries is inside of a follicle. FSH levels So they're up, they then go back down, and the strongest of these eggs moves on to survive. While the others are suppressed, the dominant egg follicle passes through the wall of the ovary and the fallopian tube. This is the process of ovulation. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's okay. Unfortunately, our education system does an absolutely horrible job of educating people about menstruative health. If you're interested in learning more about the menstrual cycle, click the link in the description to access my guide, The Introduction to the Menstrual Cycle. It's a great recap on what I just said, plus a ton more information. You're going to want to check that out, okay? So back to it. In someone who does not move on to ovulation, such as in PCOS, there will not be a follicle or egg that is deemed the strongest of the fittest. Instead, all of the 10 to 20 follicles, they all continue to grow and are then referred to as cysts, which can be seen sometimes on an ultrasound. In reality, polycystic means multiple follicles. And the presence of polycystic ovaries suggests that you did not ovulate during that cycle in which you can see these little cysts. These follicles or cysts are not permanent and they do not cause pain, the pain that we associate with other types of large cysts found in the ovaries or elsewhere. You'll notice that sharp pain is not included in the common symptoms associated with PCOS. So if you are experiencing really sharp pain or if you've had an ovarian cyst, that's something different, okay? Just want to make that very clear. So why do some people develop PCOS and others do not? Good question. The exact pathogenesis of PCOS is unknown, but research suggests that both genetics and many environmental factors come into play. So what does this mean? To bring regularity back to your cycles and to decrease PCOS symptoms, unfortunately, we have to focus on more than just one thing. In order to treat PCOS and regain cycle regularity, we need to find a balance and harmony in the following. Ready? Inflammation, blood sugar and insulin sensitivity, stress, both physical and emotional, movement and rest, gut health, micro and macronutrients through your nutrition, your relationship with food, mental health and happiness. Oh my gosh, am I missing more things? Probably. Sleep should be on there for sure, which definitely impacts stress levels. Ugh. That's a long list, right? Like, where do you start? I recommend starting where you feel like you have the most control and where you feel most comfortable. Maybe that's working on your sleep routine if you know that you get less than 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep a night. If you're not moving much during the day, maybe you could set a goal of walking 15 minutes a day in the morning. This would help you get in some movement as well as support your circadian rhythm by seeing the sun, and that's a really great way to support your sleep. I would also recommend getting a full comprehensive blood panel completed with your primary care provider. This will help you understand if you're struggling with blood sugar issues and insulin resistance, any nutrient deficiencies, and much more. If you're struggling with disordered eating patterns like fear of certain foods, restriction, cutting out complete food groups, if we're binging, I highly recommend partnering with a therapist and a nutritionist who both specialize in disordered eating. It's really, really hard for your body to operate properly if it's not receiving the correct nutrients. You're always welcome to reach out to me. I'm taking one-on-one clients in many of the US states. If I'm not able to work with you due to state licensing laws, or if you live outside of the United States, I'm happy to try to find a good fit for you and kind of point you in the right direction. In my future videos, I'll be going over common symptoms that I see in my practice that can be can be connected with PCOS, as well as other causes such as hair loss, irregular cycles, acne, etc. I hope this video was a helpful introduction to PCOS. This could have been a 2-hour long video because there really is so much that goes into it, but I hope this was a nice taster and a great way to get you started. All right, I'll see you next time.